essentially I wanted to just kind of be real with y'all, be real as far as one of my personal experiences, because I feel like I wouldn't be being authentic if I didn't really tell you guys exactly what was going on with me and just really let you guys know, one of my own personal experiences with narcissism. I feel like when there's like a very personable aspect to videos like this, I feel like those are the best videos to watch, and they're the most relatable, because when you're coming at things from your own personal experience, you have a little bit more of, I guess, empathy for people out there that are going through the same thing. I encourage some of you guys out there that listen to my narcissist playlist, that tune in for the narcissism videos I do post. This is my challenge to you guys before we do get into the video. Try and dig a little deeper. I'm not saying that you have to microanalyze everyone in your personal life. That's not what I'm saying. But when people's behaviors, their own personal behaviors, are affecting you and they're being nasty, negative people, and you're really questioning why it is that you feel like your life is being negatively impacted by surrounding yourself with people who you may believe are narcissists. I'm not saying that they are, but you have a belief that they may meet these kind of criteria that we go over on my channel. Dig a little deeper. There is always a reason behind why people behave the way they do. It may not be apparent at all times, but it is always a factor that plays into why people behave the way they do. It may be because they feel like they can get away with it. It may be from early childhood. It may be some sort of coping mechanism. But everyone has a reason behind their actions. And that's not an excuse, and that's not a pass, and that's not to demonize people. Everyone has reasons behind things, good or bad. And I just really encourage you guys to dive a little deeper and to really look at people a little bit more deeply. It's so easy to kind of be like, these narcissists, these people, those people. I don't like to throw around otherisms and to treat people like others. So with that being out the way, let's go ahead and get into kind of my story. So from a very young age, I feel like I maybe was very empathic. If you guys don't know what empaths are, I'll leave it right here down below so you guys can get like a really good synopsis as to what an empath is and who empaths tend to be like. But I feel like I've always been very, very in touch with my feelings. I've really been someone who picks up on people's behaviors very, very well, whether it be friends, family, etc. And I've always been the type of person that if someone wrongs me and does me wrong, it really hurts me deeply, right? Because at a young age, I've always had like a very, very high expectation for people. I've always seen the good in people, and that's always just been me. It probably always will be me. I definitely have evolved and learned to tailor my expectations based on the person, but I'll always believe the best in people and want the best for people. So there's that. But basically, as an empath, looking back now, I was pretty much the prime target for narcissists. If you don't know, narcissists love to leech off of the energy of an empath. We have that fuel that they want, they crave to fuel their narcissistic cycle. So that's probably why I was more so susceptible to certain behaviors by narcissists in my life. And when I say narcissists in my life, very young, my parents are pretty much fitting the bill as narcissistic individuals. I'm not seeing it I'm not seeing those behaviors for what they are at the time, because my parents are not bad people. They're not they're not demonic, they're not terrible individuals, but they have their own issues. And those issues, I've learned now that I'm seeing it in full color and for what it is, stem from early childhood, stem from their upbringing, right? So I don't put them down for it, but I do hold them accountable for their actions a lot more than I did when I was yay high and super young, right? But that's where everything kind of started for me. Me being a very kind, nice person, and then having people treat you in ways that are very self-serving, loathing you, if you try and be a good person, if you are trying to, you know, reason with people like this, even if they're your family, parents, whatever, they hate that. They hate if you bring to them dead, honest facts that are true about themselves. Never want to hear it. If they tell you that they don't want to hear it and you keep going and keep saying things that are their truth, that are true to them, and they just don't want to accept it and live in that truth, that honesty, then you will become the bad guy. You'll become the black sheep of the family. And I feel like in a lot of ways, that's what I became, the black sheep of the family. And ultimately, you can stand your ground, you can be who you want to be, you can be a loving, awesome person, and you don't have to change yourself. This is a big thing. You don't have to change yourself and waver off of that just because you have people in your life that are showing you that they're selfish, that they want to feed off of your good energy. None of that. Do not harden yourself and just give off bad energy because you're dealing with people who are bad energy, selfish people. You just don't have to do it. Just be yourself. Do not change yourself to try and get through life if you're dealing with someone you may believe is a narcissist. Now, with that being said, from my upbringing, I kind of learned how to kind of maneuver people like this. It was hard, I'm not going to lie, at some points, because people like that, they don't care if you're a nice person. They don't care if they see that they're taking a negative toll on you, right? Because they're so wrapped up in their own disease of leeching off of that negative, that positive energy, that you give off, and trying to kind of get through their own day-to-day life, which in honesty is a miserable existence. They don't have time to stop and think of what they're doing to you. So that was hard for me, but essentially I got through it. And then I want to go really deep into my first and most recent relationship that ended. I was with someone for a little bit over 4 years. And then past the 4 years, it was kind of like on and off again, but a solid 4 years of seeing this one person. So basically what I want to say about this is I'm not going to get into super detail about situations and who this person is. I'm not going to do any of that because it's really no one else's business. It's my truth, my story, so I'm going to say what's really on my mind and what, you know, the experience was for me, but me dragging someone through the mud is just not who I am as a person, and I'm not going to stoop to a narcissist level in that regard. So let's go ahead and start from the beginning. As I kind of went through my childhood story there, you guys kind of see that I've dealt with people like this in my life before. And the thing is, with my early development, my early childhood, I kind of knew that these people were wired like this, but getting into this relationship, being like their new source of supply in their life. But as far as me knowing this person, we got to know each other pretty well. We had really good chemistry off the bat, and I knew pretty much well into the relationship when we first started dating that this was someone that I could see myself growing old with, that I really cared for very deeply in that way. We had great times. We enjoyed each other's company. And I was like, dang, if this is like this forever, I'll just be like, this is my dream, just to ride off into the sunset with someone that I absolutely adore, right? And that's when everything, everything went really high up and hit that peak. And then everything kind of just plateaued for a while, where I was feeling really, really great, but certain things just started stalling out. Their behavior just started to kind of show a little less interest. They started to just, kind of show certain signs that I didn't really agree with, how they view the world. And this is where a lot of these insecurities, these sensitive natures really started to come out. Now, I'm going to rattle off a couple things I started to see. Very insecure about their appearance, insecure about their standing around other guys, always feeling like they were the lesser man in the room. Always ask me if I was looking at other guys in the room, especially. Very, very stingy with money. Never wanted to spend anything out of pocket. Always accusing me of cheating, which I never was, but they always seem to accuse me of cheating on them. Infidelity, they cheated on me, or rather I caught them around other women, but I still classify that as stepping out of the bounds of your relationship. A very, very selfish behavior on their part. Always putting themselves first, putting themselves on a pedestal, making it seem that they were entitled to everything you can even imagine, that they were entitled to it and that you were supposed to give it to them, or they would make you feel guilty if they didn't receive these things from you. This is the type of person that I was learning this man that I thought I loved deeply was. And a lot of things started to plateau at this time. I tried to kind of not really ignore it because I saw it for what it was, but when you're so deeply in love with someone, you want to look past the bad. You want to still see them in this light and still give them all the love you possibly can, even though it's super taxing, it's exhausting, it's stressful, but you want to keep giving them more and more of your love. And once that plateau kind of went on for a while, that's when everything just completely dipped off and just went downhill from there. That's where a lot of the abuse started, abusing my time, abusing my energy, just abusing my own mental health. A lot of stuff, resources. At this point, when a narcissist sees that you're kind of stalling out, it's like a car, right? That car is going to be awesome when you first get into it, you first buy it, super, super great. And then, it plateaus for a while. It's like, oh, okay, this is all right. This is sustainable. And then as soon as that car over time starts to break down, it starts to have, engine issues, the tires start to deflate, you overuse the engine, wear and tear, it goes downhill. And there's like a very, very steady plateau from there. So that's kind of like an analogy to look at it as, like a car. Like there's only so far you can push that car before you start to, or the car starts to break down. And that's what I honestly felt was happening. I was starting to break down, physically, mentally, my sanity, everything was just starting to crumble, because I felt like I was having to carry that relationship, that I had to essentially be the one to force things to work, to make things better, to sacrifice all my happiness for this person, to either be happy, to give more to the relationship, to respect me. And one thing I do want to say is you should never feel like you're fighting for respect with anybody. It doesn't have to be a narcissist, but anyone you're dating. If you feel like you have to fight for a respect from someone, then they are not worth your time. Point blank period. Even if you love them with every fiber of your being, it's like, honestly, if a man or woman, whoever, does not respect you at the most fundamental, basic principle of a relationship, which is respect, it's time for you to go. It's time for you to pack up, walk out the door, and not go back. Because respect is something that it's so hard to get, right? And if someone consistently disrespects you, does things that are not conducive to you staying with them, don't show them respect in return because you think that's what you're supposed to do. Don't overcompensate and show them the loyalty, respect that you're not getting. That's when you pick up, you walk away, and you take your dignity, your value elsewhere. Because let me tell you something. People respect people. There's a different level of respect for someone who's willing to see their value and walk away from a situation rather than stay and be abused and be taken for granted and disrespected. People like that never really are respectable. They don't ever get the respect that they want to get because they have no baseline for what they will not tolerate. And when you have no boundaries, when you are basically tolerating anything that someone throws at you, you become a victim, you become weak, and you become easily disposable, because no one's going to respect someone who just stays and is a punching bag in that way. And I know it's really hard for some people to hear, because you want to stay and you want to just be with this person and you want it to just work, and you think if you keep pushing, keep doing so much, you're eventually going to fix the situation, that they're going to just love you, they're going to see all the effort you put in. But that's not how it works. It's very counterintuitive, but if you don't have those boundaries, you are pretty much lowering your value, essentially, for the narcissist. And there's no extent that they will not use you to. So that's just something to think about while I am kind of going into my own story. We all kind of think that we can fix the narcissist. I'm here to tell you that you cannot fix a narcissist. A therapist can only fix a narcissist if you can get them to go to therapy. But it's very, very hard. And you're not a clinician. You're supposed to be their significant other, right? Or, family member, whoever, friend. It's not your job to psychologically fix these people. They really have to do the work and dig deep to do that. Not a lot of them do. Not a lot of them care enough to, or see that they're in the wrong to do that work. So that's why I say walk away. That's why I say hold your head high and move forward to someone who's healthy, because those toxic cycles, once they were in them and you're sucked in for years and years, like I was in this situation, it's just not good for you. It's not. You think you're going to come out of this stuff unscathed, and a lot of times you do. You come out of it a better person, but you always come out with battle scars. And to avoid that, I would say just walk away when you have this inclination that this is what's happening, because you'll save yourself a lot of just heartache and a lot of stress. Because man, have I been stressed for quite a long time dealing with this person who is now my ex, thankfully. So basically, to close out this video, what I want to say is this. I'm opening up about my story because I hope that someone out there can wake up and see that you are enough and you don't have to deal with these things. People that put you in this cycle of stress, of loneliness, of feeling like you're not good enough, as long as they're replenished and they're getting their needs met, it's not someone you want to be with long term. And I know it's very difficult, but sometimes you have to understand that that's pretty much what you're subjecting yourself to. And if that's something you're okay with, by all means, do that. But for those of us, like myself, who have a higher purpose and a higher desire to do better in life, walk away. Because it will not change. No matter how much you love them. They have a disease. And that disease is going to always prevent them from giving you the love that you deserve. So that's it for today's video. I'll probably do maybe a separate video on, something regarding this topic later down the line, or, until next time, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.